I'm Fred Gold. This is my 1987 325e BMW. I got it back in November, and I've got just a couple of problems. One thing I do want to point out first is, if it sounds weird, I have the muffler from Help. Believe me, I'm thinking I'm going to get that replaced as soon as I have the money and a hacksaw. But, a couple things I want to point out on the engine. Love how these are open. I need to know what this is. It's a connector of some kind, 2-pin. As you can see, it was cut, didn't break. It was like that when I got it. I have no idea what that goes to. Like the cameraman was just mentioning, the Beamer guy at the local AutoZone said he thought it might be for the airbag for some reason or another. There is another one down in here, basically right on the edge of the like the tray all this is attached to. And a couple of vacuum leaks here, here, and here. I fixed them up with the high temperature RTV blue silicone. That's what I was told to get to make the gasket for the thermostat housing. I don't have a thermostat in right now. That shouldn't be too much of a problem because it's late August right now. It's actually the 29th of August, and so I shouldn't have to worry about that too much. Not yet anyway, not till winter comes, and I'll put it in probably next month or so once I get more of it figured out. I do have one that's in the trunk. I just need to throw it in. The head gasket and the water pump on the engine were replaced by the previous owner. This doesn't wiggle whatsoever, which means the water pump should be fine. At least it's mounted correctly. I do apologize for the exterior of my vehicle. We had a storm last night. It's pretty. It needs to be washed again. All the relays are fine. Not gauges. Fuses are fine. Yeah, there's supposed to be a silicone hose here that basically just goes down, so, you know, I'll get there when I get there. Not too worried about that. I'm basically running straight water right now. There's, as you can see, there's a little bit of antifreeze in there, not too much. I know I should have a 50-50 mix, but that won't. Except when the engine's been running for a while, it's not going to do anything as far as that's concerned. I was told on BeamerForums.com on the E30 section, it's the E30 chassis, with the 2.7 liter 6-cylinder. Anyway, I was told the the idle control valve right here might need to be replaced. Pelican Parts, I read a technical article that is supposed to measure 40 ohms of resistance across a 3-pin connector. There's only 2 here, and that's stock. So, I'm not sure what needs to be done there. I basically get a reading of 0 across the 2 connectors here. Probably needs to be replaced. I also need to know what the, basically front to back, what each sensor on the thermostat housing here is. I had someone tell me on Beamer Forums that this one is for the gauge and the engine computer for the temperature. This one is the temperature switch I read on Real OEM, looking at the parts diagram. That should control my electric fan up here. I also need to know what this one is, the 3rd one back, and that one down there, which is the 4th one back. I don't know if I mentioned, but this is my first BMW. It's also my first car that I personally own, so I'm not too sure what much is. I'm hoping to fix it up myself, get it pretty much running. Sorry, getting a little glare off the windshield. So let's kick it over. Oh, one other thing. This here, you get the colors on here. That one's like kind of gray with a red stripe, and that one's green. They had a bulb attached, and it went in one of these connectors back in here. I can actually pull that out for a second. Should have enough room now. It looks like it might fit here, in this little slot. Possibly this one, or this one, which would be for the ABS. That one, I'm not... That one I think is for the 4-ways. I did replace the batteries in the SI board, which temporarily got my gauges working fine, except that the temperature gauge would peg at full. Like, not even when the engine was running, but just in general when the key was put in, the temperature gauge would read full. Is that a train?
Yes, it is.
Also, you know what this wire is? It's kind of a cream white color. It comes out from behind the air duct under the dash, from basically right behind the tach. So I don't know what that goes to either. Again, I've been told with these BMWs they pretty much had one wiring harness for the chassis for all the different kinds they produce, so it could anything. My backlighting is working all across the gauges. My speedometer works. My odometer is broken. I need to get the gears for that, or pull one. My fuel gauge does not want to work. The temperature gauge will work if you tap on it like that. 2-3 taps, that's it. The ground on both of those is fine. I just did that like 2 days ago. Basically, everything reads. Yes, my parking brake is on. I know I need a brake lining. I need new brakes. Crap, that's like $300. My battery's kind of iffy, but it's in there. It works. Let's give it a go. Alright, this is notch 1, which basically gives me auxiliary power to my music. And that of course is on. So you see the fuel gauge is already reading a little high. It's stuck. When I had the tach working, this would literally, as soon as I put it here, just go like that all the way over. I'm gonna start it. You can hear the idle gets pretty high. When I had the tach working, it sounds like it's hitting about 2,500 RPM right now, and my foot is off the pedal. It's pulled all the way back, so then it's going to do this thing where it goes up, comes down, up, down, and it'll do that no matter what. I'm going to give it a little gas. As you can hear, it's not surging when I give it gas. That weird noise you hear is my freaking up front. Doesn't really burn oil or anything. It's running extremely rich. I mean, back here right now I'm getting a little lightheaded. I was told on BMRforums.com, that's the online BMR community I'm on. Like I said, I'm Fred Duel, so on there my username is just Fred, no space, Duel. F-R-E-D-D-E-U-E-L. I was told the idle control valve in here might need to be replaced. The other thing I was wondering is there a way I can, like, I don't know if it's this here, is there some way I can adjust the mixture on it or something? Because, like I said, it's running really rich right now. Obviously that's giving me very bad gas mileage, and these things are supposed to get, like, I think 30 or so. So they're actually supposed to be good on gas, especially for a 6-cylinder, but, you know, the performance isn't that great. As far as the gauges go, them not working, I had them working with the exception, spider. Yeah, I don't know if I mentioned, but we're right next to a road, so I apologize for the semis and stuff going by if you can't quite hear. And as you can see, my dash is cracked pretty bad, so obviously I need a new one of those. It's a common thing with these cars. So anyway, I had my tach would work, my speedometer has always worked. I've never had a problem with that. I don't know if it reads it right, but the point is it moves. My fuel gauge worked up till a couple weeks ago, and it just kind of decided not to one day. Then I put a couple washers in and make sure there's good steel washers to make sure there's good electrical contact between the ground and the back of the gauge cluster. You know where the bolt is, you're supposed to have the bolt there. That's tight on both of those. So obviously it's not that. That did fix the fuel gauge. I had it reading and everything working, you know, as far as the gauges go. Until when I closed my door and like my backlighting cut out, my tach dropped, my mile per gallon went back to 40, you know, where it is when it's off. That makes me think there might be a short in the wiring under the dash here. If anyone on the internet knows where that might be at, it'd be greatly appreciated if you could send me a picture or something. I'm going to post this on YouTube. My email is just my YouTube user thing at Yahoo. Also, if you're on Beamer forums, again, my username is FredDuel, FredDeuel, no spaces, capital on the F and the D, second D. The interior is in nice shape. A couple little things need to be tweaked here. Obviously, I need new chrome trim around my windshields. I like the chrome trim. I'm not going to black it out. I'm not going to black out anything. I basically want this back to factory. And then I'm going to try to do either rebuild the engine to a 325. I don't know exactly how to do that, but again, I'm on the internet to learn. So hopefully that'll all work. I know I need a new throttle assembly here, a new header, I think a new cylinder head, and fuel injectors, maybe even down to the cylinders. This car was built in October of '86, so I cannot do the Super ETA mod. Well, I also know I need a new fuel pressure regulator. Right now, what I'm focusing on is getting the gauges working, because obviously to diagnose the engine, I need as much information as I possibly have. So, is there anything I should check before trying to rip out the gauge, or rip out the dash? I don't literally mean rip, I'm going to take it out nicely, because, you know, I actually want to wrap it in black duct tape till I can get a new one. That'll obviously be after the engine is running and I have it inspected. I'm a college student, so I don't have much money. I got a good bit of time though, so at least till classes pick up more. So basically I need the quickest, easiest fixes first, then going down to the more expensive ones. If I need a new fuel pressure, or not fuel pressure, a idle control valve here, I would probably have the money for that by late October, but unless I now find one at a U-pull place. Like I said, I need to figure out what's wrong with the gauges. What should I check first on the gauges? I reflowed all the solder joints on everything in the gauge assembly. Logically, I'm thinking there might be a short under the dash. Is there something simpler to check before then? I have a multimeter, so obviously that helps out. So if there is, let me know what it is. And then obviously I need to get my idle under control and replace a couple sensors here on the thermostat housing. Like I said, I need to know what each one is and what they control in the thermostat housing, where the readings go. What does this one read and what's it do? Next one, etc. All the way front to back, the 4 in the thermostat housing. Obviously I can get those easiest. Yeah, I think that's it. So, like I said, FredDuel on BeamerForums.com, BIMMER forums.com, or FerrariFan91 on Yahoo. If you need to get me through email, obviously just send me a thing on either one of those and I'll get in contact with you through that, with obviously your email address. Like I said, this is my first car, my first BMW. Very excited, love BMWs, just need it up and going. Because until then, I get to drive that piece of crap over there. Yeah, the Corolla. Yeah, I'm not too big on Japanese cars that much. I like my German ones. FredDuel, live in Richford, New York, tiny ass place. Hanging on my sanity. So, yeah, if you guys know anything, please give me a hand. If you want to come down, you know, help me work on it, whatever. So until then,